Welcome back. For RotoExperts.com, I'm Nate Pigott with this fantasy football roto clip, and today we're going to talk about the start and sit quarterbacks for week 6 of the NFL season. Yesterday, in my wide receiver video, I talked about Ben Roethlisberger, his return to the Pittsburgh Steelers. You can definitely start Roethlisberger this week. I'm going to give more details on some other guys, and you can check out the information on Roethlisberger in the wide receiver video up at RotoExperts.com as I talked about Mike Wallace. But the first play I really want to focus on today is Mark Sanchez of the New York Jets. Get Mark Sanchez into your starting lineups. He has a very friendly matchup. He now has Santonio Holmes back, giving him Holmes, Braylon Edwards, Jericho Cotchery, Dustin Keller, LaDainian Tomlinson, a group of excellent weapons against the Denver Broncos, the 16th ranked defense against the pass in the NFL. And if you look at the Denver Broncos, really, they're allowing quarterbacks to have a passer rating of 93 against them. They've given up 8 touchdowns through the air. They've been very friendly to fantasy quarterbacks. Sanchez is an excellent play this week. I think he gets about 200 yards and 2 scores against the Denver Broncos. Moving on, let's talk about Vince Young and the Tennessee Titans. Young's been a very efficient passer lately. 4 touchdowns to 0 interceptions in his last 3 games. He now heads to Jacksonville to take on maybe the worst fantasy defense against the pass. Jacksonville has allowed 12 touchdowns this year, 280 passing yards per game. A lot of big plays through the passing attack, which fits perfectly for Tennessee Titans' game plan with Kenny Britt, Nate Washington. Vince Young loves looking for those big plays. Start Vince Young. Look for him to get about 175 yards, 2 scores, and maybe add 20 yards on the ground. And that makes for a good bye week / injury replacement. You can start Vince Young in those circumstances. Let's move on now and talk about the sit wide receivers. The sit quarterbacks this week. And first of all, let's look at Matt Hasselbeck and the Seattle Seahawks. Hasselbeck, considered a good fantasy backup. I don't think he could be considered that anymore. Only 2 touchdowns, 5 interceptions in his last 3 games. They shipped out Deion Branch, his veteran receiver. They're now left with a group of receivers, inexperienced guys like Deion Butler, Golden Tate, who have a lot of potential, but also will make a lot of mistakes. I don't like Hasselbeck this week, especially going up against the Chicago Bears, who are one of the better pass defenses in the NFL. They've only given up 2 touchdowns through the air this year. And given Hasselbeck's recent track record, I don't think it's a good week to give him a start. If you need a bye week fill-in and Hasselbeck was your planned starter, I say look at the waiver wire. Look for a guy like Young, possibly Matt Castle, who faces a Houston Texans defense that is pretty bad against the pass themselves. Moving on, the last player, Sam Bradford of the St. Louis Rams. Bradford has struggled lately. His completion percentage over the last 2 games has been 54. Now he's lost Mark Clayton, his best overall receiver, and he's now more focused on Danny Amendola. As a matter of fact, Amendola seems to be getting all of Bradford's attention. 19 targets last week, blew away every other receiver on the Rams in the Rams offense. Amendola is a guy who's going to catch a lot of short passes, but not make many plays down the field. It really limits what Sam Bradford can do. He's a rookie going up against a San Diego team that's 3rd against the pass and has only allowed 4 touchdown passes this season. It's not a good time to start Bradford. Leave him on your bench, and the same with Hasselbeck. If you were planning on using Bradford this week, go to the waiver wire. Try to find some of those other guys we talked about. For more fantasy football advice, check out RotoExperts.com. We have live advice, we have email advice, we have our exclusive Edge package, and a Sunday chat with Scott Engel. He'll help you get ready for week 6, help you set your lineup, answer those last-minute fantasy football questions. I'm Nate Pigott. I'll be back next week with more start and sit advice. Until then, good luck. I hope you win your fantasy games.